Good evening. You're on with It's You Time with Pastor Steph, and tonight we have a special edition of Wow Wednesday. We're also celebrating our girl Vivian's birthday. Now, if you're an avid listener of Wow Wednesday, you know how we get there. Vivian gives us the story of the day, and we get to comment and talk about it. So, as I always ask, what you got for today, Viv?
Hey! I'm so excited. This is the first live episode of the Time with Pastor Steph. I mean, if you don't count the Breaking the Yoke, we did the first one there. But this is the first official live It's Time with Pastor Steph. So we are opening up with a Wild Wednesday edition. I'm hyped.
All right, me too.
Today on the first episode of the Time Live Wow Wednesday edition, we are starting off with our wild story of the night. So me personally, I like to give a lot of credit to people with their brilliant ideas and all these business ideas that they come up with in order to become entrepreneurs. But where do we draw the line? Possibly a free marijuana boot camp in Queens colleges. Maybe that's where we cross the line. So out in Queens College, they have a free marijuana boot camp for the students to experience what it's like to own a marijuana shop. Just in case this is something that they want to do as a business. So you go there, you get to work there, you get the experience, and then they help you fill out the application, which is, how much is this application? $1,000 application to open up your own legal marijuana shop. So this is what they're offering the kids in college. So I'm going to college to open up a marijuana shop. But if that ain't bad enough, if that don't get you to say wow, we got one more story with Malik Yoba, I believe his name is. So if you don't know, this is old news, but he came out talking about how he's sexually attracted to transgender women. And people got on his case. So he was on a radio interview where he was, pretty much promoting transgenders and showing how he supports them and telling people that, we need to be more open-minded and yada, yada, yada. So he, at one point in an interview, said something about natural-born women. And the transgender women and men, I believe, that were with him pretty much got on him about his terminology and calling us natural-born women. So we're going to play that video for you right now. While we're waiting for the video, I'm going to give you a couple of quotes that they gave you. So I can show the video here for the panel. So we're gonna, okay, use that.
All right, so you heard the first story. So now the education or the curriculum for SUNY is now them teaching or educating the students on how to open up a weed spot.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
all right. So I'm paying how many thousands of dollars to go
Right.
to school? What? Okay, so Stephen, we're gonna give you first chance at this, this first leg on this conversation. What comes to your mind when you think about the fact that you sending your child to school and this is what you spending your money on?
Well, me personally, I think my personal beliefs as a parent, it would interfere with the curriculum that I want my child to learn, of course. But in this world that we live in, the education of opening businesses, any kind of entrepreneurial business, I wouldn't be totally against it because it's difficult to control a narrative in which your child sees. And in this world that we live in today, the narrative of marijuana and the consumption of it, and the fact that it's being legalized now all through the course of the country, I think it's important to educate the teenagers or the grown adults. I don't like to categorize them as children because once you hit the college age, you're experimenting with a lot of stuff. You're experimenting with different drugs, and I actually think it would be important for the schools to do drug education classes that explain the dangers of all these drugs. If you break them down to atoms, you will understand how they affect your body, and you will probably understand how to use them. So me personally, you break it down to atoms, you let them know the longevity of these things, and not just leave it as a moment of hush talk where that's something that we don't want to talk about because it's drugs and it's bad. No, let's talk about it. It's time for us to have these discussions with our kids because fentanyl is killing people. I have a couple of friends that die with fentanyl. And it's important to start at a fundamental basis. Cigarettes, weed, alcohol, fentanyl, those type of things need to be discussed. And the legalization of it is always going to be up for debate in this, especially in a place like New York. I mean, you could go outside and walk down the street, and you're going to smell some weed. You could go to the park and bring your child to the park, and they're going to smell that stench. They're going to say, "Mama, listen." You can't always say nothing. You got to have that discussion.
Okay.
That's what I feel.
Okay, thank you. Shontyce, what you got?
I'm sending my child to school 9 times out of 10, even if you're getting financial aid. I've helped you fill out the application. I'm helping with the money to get to and from school. Even if you don't know what you want to major in when you go to college, there's nothing wrong with that because they have a letter for that. You take a little art till you get to dibble and dabble in a few different courses and, open. I would be some type of upset if I now find out that you're at a university, whether CUNY or SUNY, and they're now, "Oh, Mom, we're learning about entrepreneurship." Okay, but they're telling us how to open up another weed spot. They not have enough of these around you. Do you have to really go and pay to learn how to do this? Because half of them don't know what they're doing, or they just woke up and said, "Hey, this is what I want to do." Somehow got a few dollars in their pocket, maybe linked up with someone else, got a few dollars in their pocket, and now this is what they're doing. You really now. So for most people, college is a ripoff. It's a scam because you're paying. I know me personally, I won't just I feel like I'm paying for high school and everything. I already got my credit. But now you're paying for something that, what is the longevity in this? And not just learning about how to run a business, but now they're really targeting how to run a weed business. What is the real longevity in this for you? How is this now? What else is this going to open you up to? What is this going to turn you on to? Are you going to start now smoking if you don't already smoke? Are you going to, in my personal opinion, I feel like it's just too much. It's, again, here we go with introducing things that kids and the parents have no say and or it's yes, you start college, you're about 17, 18, maybe 19 years old. You're still being groomed around that time, and you start feeling yourself. So now you're helping your kids, well, their kids now fight with their parents because already there's some type of battle probably going on. Because I'm in college now, I'm grown. What you finna tell me, whether mommy and daddy's going to be paying or not? And now I've been opened up to this, and most likely, well, I can't say that. Maybe mom and or dad may not be with it, but now you're helping to cause a fight. I just feel like this is just another way to introduce this, to help it to continue to spread, so that when the people who say I'm against it, they're like, oh, well, we just opened another leg here and another leg there. They're trying to make it to where it's going to be a lot harder to shut it down. I feel like that's the real ultimate plan. If we continue to introduce this in huge pods like this, when the powers that be try to shut it down, it's like, how can you really try to shut it down when now it's being spread to it being part of a curriculum at a university?
Okay. Now listen, you're watching, you're viewing, you're tuning in. Make sure you comment. Vivian's going to pull up the StreamYard on her phone so we can get a chance to see what you say. What do you think? Opening up of SUNY, State University of New York, is now opening up the curriculum to teaching our children, and I'm sorry, Stephen, that I'm still saying children, because even though you might be an adult, I'm not talking to you as a child. So opening up our children, or for those who are adults, who are going to school, who are interested in learning some things, weed is now on the curriculum. What do you think? Let us know. Make sure you text us and tell us and let us know what you're thinking. Teresa, what's your thought?
Well, my thought goes to taxpayer money. SUNY is a state-run college, state-run universities, and CUNY are city-run universities. So my thing is that, okay, weed is legalized in New York now. That's fine. I mean, it's not fine with me because I don't really like drugs of any kind. But we get it. Like, it's legalized because, people use it recreationally, and, they just want to stop, penalizing people for using weed. I get that. A lot of people have gone to jail for years for selling weed, for using weed, for it does not affect the body as bad as other drugs. But it being not as bad as other drugs, it's still a drug, it's still addictive, it still has its bad parts to it. But my thing goes to taxpayer money. I didn't agree to this. Like, they taking money out of my check to fund these things. And you're not going to agree with everything that the state and the city does with your money. But at the same time, it's like, kids are going to school for education. Why couldn't this be included in agricultural type aspect of it? Because you're growing, you're growing weed and stuff like that. Why is it not a part of that? Why does it have to have its own branch to where it's like this whole degree in it? Like, it doesn't have to be that specific. Like, you can use funds and money and other aspects of, the college to fund these things. You don't have to, go with the fad of the world. Weed is legalized. Let's make a whole degree out of this. So, people put their money towards it. And then later on, is this degree really worth anything? Like, I feel like college in general, I'm a college student myself right now. I feel like they're just trying to push us to get these degrees and not really teach us about what exactly the field we are going into, like what we're doing in there.
It's Do Time with Pastor Steph.
There's no boundaries now. That's the part that everything is available. Everything is
is that she exposed us. She told us what it was. Like, she didn't hide anything from us. She didn't tell us that Santa was real. She didn't tell us about the Easter bunny. When we asked her questions, well, when I asked her questions, she was very direct, and she answered the questions the best way that she knew how. And I thought that was very important in my growing up, because there was nothing that the outside world can tell me about what these things were, whether it was sex, whether it was, gay people, whether it was transsexuals, whether it was drugs. She told me whatever it is. She told me the truth, how she knew it, and I went on from there. However I looked it up, I looked it up. If she didn't know everything about it, then I would go search on my own, and I would come back to her and ask her questions about it. But I think it's very important to, allow your kids to, ask you these questions and not hold it off to them. Because guess what? If you're not talking about it, their friends are, and they don't know. Like, they don't know what they're talking about sometimes, and then if they do know, they know too much, and you can't monitor what exactly your kid is going to, like the information that they're going to take on. So in this way, when you allow that open door, when you allow that open communication, then your kids are open to ask you these questions, and you're open, you're available to them as a source of information.
Right. Very good. Shontyce, are we talking to our children, our young people, our young adults about weed? And how far do we go?
As far as you can go, tell them everything. Do your research. Do your research with them. There's nothing wrong with, like Teresa said, telling your kids what you know and then saying, well, I want to make sure you know more. So that means I have to know more. Not because I don't want you to be able to put me on or something, but I should be just as educated, so you can't try to get nothing past me. Or if you come and say that someone came up with a new way to introduce this to you, I need to be up on it. And unfortunately, like, I have a 9-year-old niece. We got to start talking to her about it. Because it's just these elementary school kids, they either got parents and or older siblings or siblings their age or whatever smoking, and now they come to school talking about it. She needs to know how to talk about it, how to say no, not to just say no, but how to say no and educate her peers the way she's being educated. So unfortunately, these kids have to be taught a lot earlier than we did. We had to be taught things at a certain age, but now it's like as soon as they born, okay, listen, hello, y'all got Google later, okay, listen, picture this, stay with this. Like, because unfortunately, these schools are taking liberty on introducing any and everything to your child. So if you are not making it your business to try to be steps ahead, and if you don't already know, or even if you do know, you can never know too much, educating yourself so that you can now counteract what the schools, because it's not just the peers, the teachers, the assistant principals, the deans, the counselors, the principals, those who will be protecting our kids are now the ones exposing our kids to these things. Again, you need to know how, if you did a story, Pastor Steph, this week, on how a teacher was trying to get 2 students to do something. You need to be able as a child to tell how to tell an adult respectfully no, until you can get your parent involved, because you're still a child. So there's but so much you can say to an adult. But you have to know how to say these things. So you need to be able to explain any and everything you can. Learn with your child. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Humble yourself enough to learn with your child. Your child will teach you some stuff because they've been at school for 8 hours that day learning about some stuff. And open yourself up to it, because they're just being exposed for way too much. So you have to make sure that.
Absolutely. Stephen, you're the one who said we need to start opening up the conversation. How do you start the conversation?
Well, you first have to start at empathy. You have to know how to phrase things and become a person that your kids can talk to. You can't be type of person that they're afraid to come and talk to. You have to feel comfortable enough So you have to have some understanding. You gotta be a little head.
Yeah, right. That's right.
So you gotta be very into their lives. Ask them how the day going. What did you learn? Show me what you learned. Who's your friends so far? Laugh with them, joke with them. And those things that make them feel comfortable enough to tell you these things. And explain to you how you feel about them. And having stories like my stepdaughter, she hanging out with a friend. She's in 11th grade now. Honor roll student, brilliant child. She hanging out with kids. She knows better than the but she just experimented with the edibles. And mom feeling different.
Oh, I guess so.
Mama knew already. Mama knew she was very upset. And the discussion had to be had. So even though she's an honor roll student, and she knows better, she's still going to be subject to the same mistakes that I'm pretty sure all of us made. And you got to be understandable to sit there and be like, yeah, you messed up. But let me tell you a time I messed up too. Now how I got better, how I fixed it, how it made me feel, and how it messed me up. You don't want that to mess you up, right? So you have to be there to talk to them about these things. Me personally, like I said, I'm for it. I'm for them teaching that curriculum in the colleges. I wouldn't say high school. I feel like it's a business aspect because in today's society, I have been in these big shops and they are ran by the other nations. And me as a proud black man, I see how these other nations feel about people. They're all Muslim descent. They're all Chinese descent. Yeah, they don't teach their kids. They teach their kids not to do it, but they teach their kids off of themselves and to make money off of us. So they come here and half of, not all shops, illegally or legally, are ran by Middle Eastern people. And they come and they bring over their product, which is synthetic. So by you teaching a kid here what the different stuff, agriculture of it, now they know what's real and what's not. Now they can grow their own and grow their own business if they choose to use this product. Because let's be real, this product is not being promoted now. It's always been around. Snoop Dogg is a household name. I've seen police officers spoken with. Like, this is something that's always been around. And teaching the business aspect of it, it kind of helps because these shops are only going to get bigger and the other nations are only going to get bigger. And they're going to have another opportunity to feed off about people, control the aspects of what we have coming in our community, whether it's alcohol or food. If they have food, give us something. Whether it's the food, like even if it's weed, now I'm not for all the kids. Weed is an enabler. It makes you lazy, it messes up your concentration, slows you down. You shouldn't do it. But if you do choose to do it responsibly. And by creating a perfect curriculum for it, or educational curriculum for it, I hate to say perfect, that will give people the opportunity to, like I said, like we're having this discussion now. And this is like a church thing. But if you teach your kids right, and just like the Bible says, raise them as they may go. Like you teach them the way your child should go. You don't let them experiment. You don't let them take stuff. You teach them and you aim them. And that's the best way to protect them and keep them in your edge with the scripture, believe in God, and let that be that deterrent. You know what I mean? Rather than shielding them. Give them the shield. Don't block them. They're going to get it. Let them have that shield to fight. To the point where they'll come home and be like, Mom, you know, Mom, we got this stupid weed class. I ain't taking that class. That's what you want.
You got the last leg on this, how do we talk to our children and how much do you say and how much do you kind of hold to yourself or whatever?
I agree. Tell them everything. Tell them everything. You do your research, just like Shontyce said. Do your research. so you can be able to best explain to them, like Steven said, the effects of it. It makes you lazy, it does this to your body, it does this to you, so that they understand and they're not going to their friends and other people to learn about this or trying it in order to learn about it. So make sure you are well knowledge on what it is, what it does, and things like that, and teach your children. And then as far as other people selling it to us, like, if my child don't do it, I don't want you selling it to somebody else. Like, if it's not good for me, if it's not good for you, why would you give it to the next person? And I want you to be able to know it's not good for people, so that you don't think, well, it's just a business and I'm just gonna make my money how I make my money. No, like, that's, to me, that's just not cool. Like, if you don't drink alcohol, why are you selling it to the next person? If you understand why alcohol is bad for you, why cigarettes is bad for you, why weed is bad for you, why would you give it to the next person? So teach your kids about it as thoroughly.
I have to.
I worked in the bar. I've seen them.
Education too.
And they like to get down. It's a new generational thing.
Yeah.
You know.
So it's the younger.
It's the young because, I mean, it's more accepted.
Right.
They can go to the store and go get it for themselves and try different strands.
Not only that, the generations are shifting.
Yeah,
So the generations are shifting. We're coming further away from, how we raised this generation. And as they're getting younger and younger, the generations, a lot more different thinking. Everything is more acceptable. Like you said, things are more available. So now it's like, well, if I can go get it, then what's wrong with it?
Right.
As far as like you said, hey, do I sell something that I don't want my own children? I'm going to tell you how they're smart though. Because they're educating their children, making sure they get the best education, and they still teach them on the side. We don't do that.
Right.
Again, we don't do that. We just going to teach them how to sell weed. I'm gonna open up, and no pun intended, I'm just saying, this is how we do. We don't teach, we're not thorough enough. They fight for their children in the school.
Right.
Things don't go on, just whatever they want to put up in the school, they put up in the school. Those people, they fight for their school, they make sure certain things are on the education curriculum, blah, blah, blah. That's why when we go to school, who you think is number one in the class?
Right.
It's always them. So even though there might be weedheads in the younger generations, but they got parents that's behind them, that's pushing them. They're not accepting no slack. It's whack if you are selling stuff that you don't want your own kids or your own people to use. That's it. You don't do stuff like that. That's period. That's in anything. But, that's what they do. But at the same token, we need to take that type of attitude, how we stay behind our children.
We're going to do it. We smoking it with them.
Right.
Be like,
right.
let me get a discount.
Yes.
We buying it from them.
Right. We're partying with the kids. Mom and daughter going to the club. They don't do that. No, because they make sure there's a distinct difference. I'm parent, your child. I don't know how old the child is. They make the distinct difference. So therefore, they're not partying with their people. They're not drinking with their people. That makes a big difference in how you maneuver as adults, as young adults. Because I couldn't party with my mama.
Thank God I ain't party with my mom.
You couldn't, because that wasn't my thing.
Right.
Because and when if it was, I wouldn't be hanging out with you. How am I hanging out with you? I ain't got my own people to hang out with.
Part too hard.
It's too much. It's too much. And my parents, they love to party. But they weren't like, okay, come on, Steph, here, take this hit. They didn't smoke weed or they drank, things like that. But it was a distinct difference. And unfortunately, as much as they may be guilty of doing what you've described, they still push education. And I'm sorry. At the same time, our education is getting watered down.
Mm-hmm.
But it is an education nonetheless. It's education on a banned substance that's legal now. And that substance actually has medicinal properties that help people with aches, pains, strokes, a whole plethora of things. And those are the arguments that the kids have nowadays. That's what they tell you. They have creams and medicines that are made from weed, and they'd be like, "Ma, this is a medicine." And then how would you argue those steps?
We ain't arguing.
Yeah.
That don't mean you should use it. Right. It doesn't water down their argument. It doesn't make the points, because we've had people say all the time, well, it helps me chill and it moves me.
Maybe saying, instead of starting that business, become a pharmacist. Well, let me.
But those pharmacy drugs are even worse than marijuana. I can personally testify that I've had a drug that I took, medicine that was supposed to make me feel better. And that thing gave me suicidal thoughts.
Absolutely.
It
talk about on
turned
TV all the time.
It turned off my immune system to the point where if I caught a disease or an infection, I would surely die. Those types of medicines that pharmacists are selling aren't any better than the weed that are selling. And if people had the proper education, even on pharmaceuticals like that are destroying our people and our people at a higher rate than marijuana is, then we can have those conversations as well. I think as time goes by, they are experimenting because it's all about the money, right? They saw that marijuana is a booming economy, $1 million economy,
right, and that way
they're not getting no money.
That's
off
right,
of that.
Stephen.
This is all about the money.
That's
It's not
right.
about the children.
That's right. No.
It's all about the money,
Yep.
and they're not getting no tax money or none of that.
Absolutely.
And it's a $1 billion industry. Billions.
Absolutely.
But off the point of it could be used this way, as one of our viewers said, it's not. A lot of the times people are not buying it because they need it for medical purposes. A lot of the time people are buying it just for recreational purposes. And you as a child or as a person in general, you can't necessarily determine what this person is coming in here to buy. So whether you have the argument to say, well, weed is a medicine, it's natural, it does this, it does that, you're not selling it to only people that need it for those purposes.
I don't want no medicine anybody else can use.
And you can't determine
like that.
if Sally comes in and buy it, who she gives it to and what it does to that person. So why even get into that business and have to deal with those what ifs? Like,
because in that case, you would have to outlaw everything. Everything that.
Well, then outlaw it. And we'll just outlaw everything. But you can't make that kind of argument if it's medicinal. Because initially, before it was legal, it was used for medicinal purposes, and there were people who had MS, Parkinson's, all kinds of things like cancer, things like that they were actually getting prescribed because you had to have your little card. You go get your prescription, and it would help you. Yeah. Okay, but now we legalize it. No, because that was going to be my point.
Medical, and they do the personal use now because they try to equivalent it as alcohol consumption, which alcohol consumption, we already have studies that it kills people. It's very worse.
It's all killing us. It's
killing
all of us.
But, those types of, this is a liberal society that we live in. I had a friend that came from Japan. They outlaw. You go out there with weed, you're getting 5 years in their prison.
This is what I'm saying. You know why? Because their focus is different. In America, anything goes.
Because, like you said, it has to
You
do
do
with money. If
Right.
I feel like I can make money,
Right.
We talk about that with the water all the time. Why are we paying the water bill? You created water.
Right.
You created this, but you found a way to capitalize
That's right.
off of each home on this block paying not just the water bill, but then there's another fee on top, a sewer fee. You created the sewer? No. But you found a way to have us pay for water, have us pay for the sewer fee, all of that. If they figure out a way to capitalize off of it, then this is why it's being put so much, it can be used for this, it can be used for that. Okay, no, it can be used for this, even if it's 1%, I'm gonna push that 1% if that means I can sell this diamond. So I'm gonna sell this to you and push whatever, it'll help you have better dreams, it sure will. You want this bag? It'll help you get that job, it sure will. You want this bag? Anything I have to say to push this,
So I can make my money.
right, so I can make my money, then that's what I'm gonna do. And that's why it's so acceptable here, because America is greedy.
yes.
All these other countries, yes, they want to make their money and they want to do this, but they're not greedy and thirsty like America is.
And that's
where they are.
Right.
That's where they are. And thus where we are. So, in closing, I love this conversation. And I love this conversation because a whole lot of good thoughts and ideas have been put into this. But at the end of the day, when you go to your school, you make the decision as to whether you're going to sign up for this class or not. Whether it should be in the state curriculum, whether it should be in the city's curriculum. Everybody has their different feelings, everybody has different thoughts, but it's up to you. How are you going to handle when you have all of these options? What will your decision be? All right. Oh, Vivian, we got a whole different topic going on. Did we get the share the feed?
We're gonna try to play it up over here so everybody can see it and everybody can hear it, and then we can discuss it.
All right.
So for all of you sisters,
Wait, so
You can
wait, hold up. Yeah.
You want to hear the audio?
we can do the audio. I can play it. So we'll do the audio that way everybody can hear it.
actually for
But everybody is DJ Envy, Angela Yeesh, and Charlamagne and I were confused with different things that we could say, different things that we could talk about. When we were talking about transgender, we were talking about a story from Leo who's here. He called me and said, hey, y'all want to come down and have a conversation. We also
Let's do the short version. This is the long one. Let's do that one.
No.
All right, let's see. All right.
naturally born think that trans
not naturally born, I can't. Not naturally born.
I make mistakes.
That is natural.
Okay, so what I'm saying is for women
Assigned female at birth.
okay, so for women who are assigned female at birth and stick to that
And for whom that is consistent with how they identify.
and who for whom that's a lot of work.
Okay.
Okay.
You are in a commitment or a stance?
Yes,
To
ma'am.
work.
Yes, ma'am.
To work. Come on.
Teach me, say it again.
To work.
Do it again.
For whom
For whom?
is consistent with how they identify.
Okay, so for women who were assigned female at birth, it's consistent with how they identify.
Right.
So for those women who
So the video was basically that he was on an interview, a radio interview, and he said he was getting ready to say something about natural born women. And when he used those terms, the transgender community started to correct him, said that there was nothing natural about a natural born woman, and started giving him the proper, in their eyes, proper vocabulary of how to refer to natural born women. They told him to call us cisgenders because natural cisgenders, you were labeled a woman and you stuck to that label as you grew up. Like, it's all this whole terminology that they started pushing on him, and that started a whole other conversation. But that's where we're at. We as women can no longer be called women because the transgender community has different terminologies for us, such as cis, such as whatever you identify as, or consistent with your identity, and all this other type of stuff.
Ooh, Shontyce, you got the first leg on this one.
When whatever you decide to do is your business. But now it's to the point where when I say I'm a woman, I was born a woman. You jumping down my throat, and you got extra problems. Why you mad at what I am? Because it has everything to do with you now feeling like you're not being accepted or looked at as a such and such, whatever the such and such is, whether it was a woman, a man, a dog, whatever. It's too much. It's way too much. Stop with the bullying. Stop, because let me tell you something about that community. And this is what whatever you do is what you do. When you start forcing your way in to other people's thoughts and speech and mind, and then when they respond, you don't like the response, and now you crying. Shut up. Do what you do. Sleep with who you sleep with. Dress how you dress. Go to work. Go home. Go to bed. Get up. Do the next thing tomorrow, and shut up. Stop putting it out there to where now you're bullying your way into what somebody else, whether they're lying, whether they're telling the truth or whatever, and then when they respond, he was sitting there just talking. Just talking. Whether he was right or wrong, he was just talking. He didn't say anything derogatory. He didn't curse, no nothing. The way you jumped on him, so what would have happened had Angela Yee still been on this show? And said, she was on the show at the time? Oh, well, what would I say? I didn't watch the whole clip, but what would have happened had she just stood up and said, like, let's say they didn't, the transgender women didn't say anything about, but she just was talking passionately or something and said, yeah, because that's a natural born woman, and da-da-da-da. How would you have responded to that? When he calmly was just speaking and you was ready to cut his Adam's apple out. Like, how do we get there? Stop. It's way too much. It has everything to do with you just wanting to insert yourself so bad that when other people look at you, they see natural born woman. You want them to look at you and say, you're a natural born woman. And it ain't happening. And get over it. Just stop. It's just too much. Woo! Too much.
Teresa. I mean, I'm a question person. I would then ask, if I was in that situation, I'm putting myself in Malik Yoba's shoes. I would then ask, what is a natural born woman? Like, what, does that exist for you? Because at the end of the day, like, naturally, as a woman, I'm born with certain parts that a transgender woman is not born with. Like, that comes to me naturally. That's how I identify myself as a woman. So you not being natural born as a woman, you don't have those parts. So exactly, like, do we eliminate the term for you because you don't feel like you're natural? Like, I can't go based off of your feelings at the end of the day. We have to go based off of what exactly we're born with. And if you want to pass as a woman, that's your business. If you're able to pass as a woman and everybody thinks of you as a woman, then more power to you. But I'm not going to sit there and take off something I was naturally born with to make you feel comfortable. A term that I didn't earn, I was born with. I was born a woman. This is something that I didn't ask God for. I didn't ask my parents for. I didn't ask anybody for. It was just something I was naturally born with. Thank God I'm not confused to thinking that I am a man and a man trapped in a woman's body. I really feel for those who do, because it really must be a hard life to live. Because me as a woman, identifying as a woman, it's very hard for me to live this life and go through things as a woman, living in a society that is basically caters to men. So I can't imagine being a man that wants to be a woman, but is a man. Like, it gets crazy in your head, and I understand that people want to be accepted. People don't want to be looked at as other. But when you are marginalized, like Black people are marginalized, women are marginalized, gay people are marginalized, transsexual people are marginalized. Like, we're coming from people that are marginalized. The people that are not others, which are white men or white females, they don't feel like we feel, where we feel like the other, and when we enter other atmospheres. So I get it. Like, as a woman, as a Black woman, we feel that type of, oh, is this person watching me because I'm black? Is this person watching me because I'm a black female? When you enter a store, we get that. Like, I understand your plight to some degree, but I'm not going to sit there and cater to what you feel I should be. No, like, just stick to yourself, honey. Like, just stick to yourself. Make sure you got your ducks all in a row. I'm going to do me. I'm gonna be a natural born woman, and you be whatever you want to be. That's it. Like,
oh, all right now. Vivian, do we have comments from our viewers?
one of our viewers says, it's a control thing more than an acceptance thing.
Wow, that sounds like what the ladies were already saying. Steven,
Yes.
what's your thought?
No, I'm just joking. America is a mental asylum. Isn't it? And don't we live in a place where up is down and down is up? And like this young lady said, they're a bunch of bullies, aren't they? Like they bullied him to change the narrative
Right.
They really jumped down his throat when he
It's
said
so
something.
confusing.
He was so afraid though. I think that was the more interesting thing in the video that we gotta pay attention to is that he was afraid of the consequences of getting it wrong.
Yeah.
And when our men are afraid to stand up for certain things, that's when it becomes a problem. The fact that he wasn't there to defend what he said.
Right.
That he. Oh, what did I say wrong?
Right.
How do I say it?
Right.
A, B.
Right.
And these are the celebrities, the voices of our communities, the people who we see on TV. So we look at with so much prestigiousness. These people, idiots, and they're the head of this mental asylum that we call America. These people are crazy. You know, they take away so much value from a woman by even trying to call themselves a man. From their mothers by trying to call themselves a woman, excuse me. You know, that you can think that, oh, she's not a natural born woman, that's just what they think is an expression. No, you are born with certain chromosomes.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what makes you a woman. Let's go down
Thank
to
you.
biological
Right.
makeup.
The science behind
The
this thing here.
And that's why it's a mental asylum, because they're going against facts.
Right.
Once you start going against reality, that's when stuff starts to really twist and warp. And then there's no stopping it now. There's no stopping it now. And like I said, you just gotta be strong enough to say, shut up.
I agree, because I surely wouldn't have been the one where they would have been coaching. Well, how do I say this? No, I'm
But
Oh,
with
he
you.
was with homegirl. That's why he.
I don't care.
Charlamagne didn't
I don't
say
care.
nothing.
I don't care.
Angela was there, and she didn't say nothing as
And
well.
that
Because
was a big tell.
that's another problem that, you know, the women in our society, they clown, oh yeah, girl, call them girl. That's not a girl. And now they really feel that they're a girl now. Because I'm a girl just like you. What makes you better than me? I'll take your man. Right?
Yeah.
And these guys, like Malik, like now he has a platform to say, like, yeah, I'll be dabbling in that.
Yeah.
Nah, make him feel uncomfortable. Say no, you argue with them. But that's what you gotta be articulate and able to argue with them and not be a bigot, not be offensive, and just really
Stand your ground.
stand your ground. Because we be folding and we don't want to offend the crazy. Right? We don't want to wake the person sleepwalking, right? And that's what this is.
Exactly.
We want to wake them up.
Good point. I like it. I like that.
People in their own community saying the same thing. Like, we are not natural born women. Like, we cannot claim that. Like in your own community, you have this friction. When it comes to like different marginalized communities, Black people, we usually come together to say, oh, that's wrong. There's some people that be like, oh, you know, Black Lives Matter is doing too much. But in general, Black people know racism exists. Like, this is not a game. Like Like, we could come together and be like, oh yeah, like there is a problem here. When it comes to the transgender community, like there's a war going on even between them, because there's one sect that, oh, like I'm just okay with just being called she. Like I'm okay with that. Other ones, they want to have everything. They want us. They just want to live in our skin. They want to live in natural women's skin, and they don't want us to be able to identify with how we identify. They just want us to feel. I feel like they want us to feel the way that they do.
That upsets you, right? And you get offended as a woman by that?
Yes.
I get offended when you try to change my speech. I don't care you talking about you a woman. That's your business. You can walk around here with a women's shirt, women's poster, a hat with a big old thing that reaches to the top of the tree. That's your business. But now you try to infiltrate my speech because you want to control my speech because you know you're not like me. So you now want me to conform my words.
It's a way of bullying.
But that's what I'm saying. So stop bullying because that's why it irritates me because this is the same community that cries. Oh, right. Oh, the homophobia and they bully me and they're talking about me. Shut up. If you don't speak out, no one would have anything to say to you. You get what I'm saying? So it's like if you're willing to do all that, then be ready for the response. Because 9 out of the 10 responses you're going to get is not going to be in agreement with you. So if you want to be loud, then be loud, but then shut up when you get the response.
Right. Listen, as they used to say it, if you could give it, you should be able to take it.
Right.
That was old school. They don't say that no more. You don't hear that
now
anymore.
everybody just take mine.
Because everybody's sensitive. Because everybody's sensitive, and as soon as you
Cancel.
right. You know, it's just whining. All right, man. So, what's your thought? You know, with all that has been said, you know, you were told based on this video that you are not a naturally born woman, and as Stephen asked, is it offensive?
It is. Not to the point that I'm mad, but it's offensive to the point that you're gonna demote me to big yourself up. Like, no, I'm a natural born woman. I came out of my mom's vagina with a vagina, and I am a woman, and y'all not gonna take that title from me because you want to be what I am. Like, how does that work? If you want to be a woman, that's cool. Do you? But you're not gonna take it from me so that you can be that. Like, no, that doesn't even make sense.
Signed at birth. So what? The doctor's in the corner flipping a coin. Okay, we delivered 4 boys today. 4.
This one's gonna
be a girl.
No. Okay,
so we're gonna slap this vagina on this one, and we're gonna now genitals don't matter. So whatever the doctors and the nurses want to say.
They want to be having surgery.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And taking hormones for breasts and all of that. Then just walk around looking like a regular man, because there are, like you said, in the community, there are men who don't change their appearance, but they may be homosexual. Okay, and they got me looking at them now. I'm like, eh. Sometimes I wish you could just a woman. You could separate yourself from the regular. But seriously, you mean I know them and find out that they on that side. But you really. But, you know, so they don't all agree. And that's what, you know, and I voiced that too. You have some where they just live their lives. They're quiet. They do them. So then just do that. But well, you said it was quiet. I'm sorry.
You're finished.
No, I wasn't. It's okay. It's okay. We're passionate about this because it's nonsense. Like Stephen said, it's just twisted. Their way of thinking is just completely twisted. So you're going to get offended because someone's calling me what I am, a natural born woman, but you want to get offended and demand that they change their terminology and their vocabulary. Like, it's too much. It's too much. Now we cisgenders, birth-giving women, breastfeed, like, cisgenders.
Like a girl type of.
No, cis is like another language that just means like.
It doesn't make sense. Let's not even try to give it a platform to have it be understood. It's something that's never going to be understood.
I agree.
They have so many different terminologies for it now. I call them RuPauls. And, you know, to bring up RuPaul, that brother stood up and was like, no, I'm not a woman. I'm a man. You know, because just like she said, some of them they against it, but places like 105.1 they give them the platform to say these things to try to change the way we talk. I used to be a bouncer at a place, and I argued with one of them because he was clearly man. And I'm like, excuse me, sir, you can't. I'm not a sir. How dare you? I was like. I throw people out for a living. I can't even. They bullying me now.
Right. Put your hands on them. Say the wrong thing. Now you homophobic and you.
But me being a stern brother as I am, I stood firm, and I said, "Sir." You heard what I called you. You know what I mean? And that's how you gotta be. I don't care, you, sir. We will not tolerate that type of behavior here. Whatever you want to be called on your personal time, that's what you're going to be called. Out the ID, you literally dressed like a woman on the ID. I'm a man. You address me as man.
You still gotta go. What's it? you still whether we gonna keep whether you a man or woman, your behavior or whatever you were doing was unacceptable.
I just called him by his name. I saw his ID. All right, John.
Right. You still got it.
Because even though he was dressed like a woman,
On
the
the
picture,
ID.
his name was the same. The
Because
male
it cannot
was the same.
change. Because it cannot legally, you cannot change your name that easily anymore. We talked about that on the broadcast. It's like you can't.
But you go
Lunatics.
so hard.
Mental asylum.
You go so hard, but then you pull out your ID and it says man. Like you can't. John.
Do we have something from the live audience?
I was about to say that the cyst sounds like a disease. It's like from what I remember that a cyst is like something like this around your urinal area. Yeah. And when
it's an abnormal.
Yeah, it's an abnormal. Right. So why would I?
Definitely abnormal.
Why would I call a woman? Why would I call a natural woman cyst? It doesn't make sense to me. If anything, the other name they was trying to call a woman was child barriers.
Mm-hmm.
What? Child barrier? Oh, because they bear a child. So that's what they're good for. No, they're all women. I accept my woman just the way it is, natural. I don't want no. You gonna go to you have to go change your body parts to become a woman, and there's no guarantee you're gonna have a baby. So I want to have. I want to be fruitful, just like God said. Let us be fruitful. Like, come on.
Wow. Is there another comment from the audience?
Right here.
Yes.
I work for the parks department, and if a man come in and consider himself as a woman, we have to let him use the woman's bathroom.
No.
That's another thing, the bathroom
Vice
thing.
versa.
Yeah.
And I, a guy comes like, oh, that's a woman, that's a man, that's a woman in the man's bathroom, so you can't be allowed to use it. So I don't want to use it. So well, can you wait? Or can you go in the women's bathroom yourself and, like she's in the men's bathroom?
Wow.
So I'm not doing that.
Because they no security in there.
Yeah, there's no security in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I saw a story that a woman sent her child to the bathroom, and she said, like, she went in before the child, thankfully, and when she turned around, there was a man waiting for the little girls to come in the bathroom.
That's right.
Oh, wow.
Because you can do that now. I'm a woman, so I'm going to go in the women's bathroom, but look at the chaos you are causing because of this nonsense.
Wow. We got another comment from the live listener, live viewer.
Not to confuse us as much as we already confused, but there's a child that identifies herself as a cat, and the school has to give a litter box for the child.
No.
True story.
Wow.
True story.
Wow. Say it again for those who
So there is a child that identifies as a cat, and the school district has to give a litter box for that child.
Wow.
Look at
She said that the audience didn't hear that the child identified as a blood clot cat, and the school had to give her a literal litter box.
Oh wow!
Mental asylum.
So it is chaos personified. It is where you get. It's bullying. That's the best word. It's what's the word you use? asylum.
Asylum, yeah.
And if there's no law, it's just chaos.
Right.
I mean, I have to go back to my biblical roots. I don't remember where it says other genders or whatever. You're either male or female.
That's right.
It was Adam and Eve at the beginning of time, and it's this bad because I think we allowed it.
Yes.
We have to take some blame
Yes.
that we allowed all of this, but because how I'm not coming to you telling you in your face, yelling at you, saying you're not this, you're not that.
Right.
So how dare you come to me to
Right.
think that you can say that to me?
Right.
I honestly looked up cisgender and I was like, I don't even understand that. What is that? I'm a woman.
Right.
I'm a woman.
I am a woman. I gave birth to 2 daughters and to 2 sons. That's what they are. But I think we have to be firm. When I'm in the school, I call the kids by their last names.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to be a part of anybody's lawsuit.
Right.
So, or I call them yo.
That's my thing.
You know, and it's and then we have a child that I won't say where I'm at or whatever, but the girl who changed her name to a boy's name, parents legally. And so when she came in, I expected to see a boyish light. Well, she was the sexiest thing around, and I was like, well, what the heck? She had her breasts up to here, but she still identified. And then when the father called, when she was out to say they had their period, I was like, oh, he got 2 kids in the school? No, because she is fluid. And one day she's male, and one day she's female, and she has her period. So dad said they. It is chaos. I'm afraid for my grandchildren because the exposure is really, really just out there. I remember buying a book for my kids about the birds and the bees. I was in the store. I was like, oh, this is good. It's like just cartoon things. And Christine, the avid reader, she's going through the book, and she go, "What's this?" The last page that I didn't look at said, "And you can have 2 mommies."
Oh, wow.
So, and my daughter's 35, so that's what, at least 30, no, maybe a little, 20 something years. But it's just chaos, and we just have to instill in our children. And Mariah, like it's not even too young to have these discussions anymore. But it has to stop, and we have to make a stand without, because I think it's logical.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have to make a stand to let them know, like, you be you, but I'm a woman. I am a woman, and that's it. That's it.
We have another comment.
I like the way Candace, I forgot her last name, Candace something.
Candace O'Neill?
Candace O'Neill. She was doing like a talk, like a live talk, and one of the girls got up and asked her about, oh, I want to be addressed as blah, blah, blah. She said to her, no, I'm not going to address you as whatever you want because it's a fairy tale. You're telling me to live in a reality that's not real. You're forcing me to live in your reality, and that's not cool. I will address you what you are, or what I see in my eyes, what you are. If you have titties, I will address you as a woman. If your figures as a man, I'm gonna approach you as a man. I'm not gonna live in your own realities, so I could be live in an asylum that you want me to be in. And I was like, wow, because usually I don't like listening to her, but those words she says, like, I actually agree with her, For the first time, I actually agree with her because I don't really like listening to some of the things she says, and that point was like, it makes a lot of sense because it's just that they make you want to stay in a mindset that they want you. It's like they're manipulating your mind, and they want you to believe something that is not real. It's really not real. Why should I fall into your your witchcraft so I could admit to what you want me to believe that is not real, because that's what it is.
Absolutely. You know, I want to go back to this science thing. Forever, science has differentiated the chromosomes. 2 X's, female. X and a Y is a male. When the double X, who we always knew as a female, she was the only one who had a menstrual cycle. She was the only one who had breasts. She was the only one who had a vagina. Those help to differentiate not just the chromosomes, but what happened to our bodies on the outside. Now, since the fall of man, we have a lot of chaos physically because of men. So are there people who are born with double genitals? Yes. As few as they are in this world, there are people who are born with double genitals. Are there men who are born with more estrogen than an average man? Are there women who are born with more testosterone than normal women? Absolutely. However, the governing chromosomes were the double X and the X and Y. Now, if you happen to have some other chemical mix-up, then you are dealt with individually, because they can't deal with 2 people the same way, because nobody's body, even twins, are not identical. So that's what we need to stick to. Fact and science.
Yeah.
That's what we need to stick to. Now, how it branches off is anyone's guess. So, because of that, if you are born and you feel since the age of 3 that you were in a boy's body, but you were born a female, or what they identified as a female, we can't tell you how you felt. We can't tell you, oh no, you didn't feel it, you didn't know who you were. We cannot tell you that. However, then you let you and the doctors work on you. Leave the rest of the world alone. I am not going to say I am not naturally born, because you have some chemical imbalance in your body. Because what I agree with Stephen, I honestly believe what has not been said is it's not only a chromosome issue, it is now a mental issue. So not just the chromosomes are thrown off. You've got some type of mental imbalance, and I'm not insulting anybody. But what I'm saying is it's a lot further and a lot broader than we think. When you get to the point, like this panel has said, where you are going to, when I listen to Malik Yoba actually mirror what he was commanded to say, I have a problem with that. That's what I have a problem with. Because I would have simply said, okay, listen, I'm going to use the term naturally born women. You can use whatever terminology you want when the mic comes around to you. But as long as I have the mic, you're going to be female, you're going to be male, I can use whatever I use. You are not going to dictate. This is not a script. I know I'm an actor.
But look at how strategic the Henry is, though. You started out as an activist. He didn't start out as an actor. You started out as being the voice of your community. Now you end up being the voice of that community. How?
Because this is
Right.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying. Look at how you started out being the voice for things that mattered, for things that were really happening, for the injustice of the innocents and all of that. Now you.
Because listen,
Oh
I'm
my
going here. The transference of spirits is
real.
Listen, you can believe what you want to believe, but it is real. Like Teresa said, once you get in their bed, that transference, because it happens even with men and women, women and men.
And it happens before you get in the bed.
Right.
All that quality time and
all
talking
that
on the phone and all
exchanging.
that.
That stuff is real. And now when you actually go to now exchange, physically exchange, now you've got a monkey on your back that you can't even do anything with. And that's what, so when you say he went from an activist to now being actively utilized, now that's an interesting dynamic. That's a shift. Why? Because see, now you feel, oh, well, let me be bold and brazen and say that I switch sides. Well, now look what switching sides has done for you.
Well, that's why we should have standards for our so-called activists, because they are leaders of our community, right? And if we have a leader of our community that practices homosexuality, I'm sorry, that's not a leader that I could be behind. You know what I mean? They like she stated, the good pastor, she stated that it's a spiritual thing. And when you look at a lot of different spiritualities, they have these dual sex gods. I think Krishna is like a dual sex god, isn't it? Like with the man.
But like you said, they have a double genital. Yes.
So that's just that God being redirected into Oscar. That's why it's very important that you have that spirituality. And you have that hedge around you and that cordial lead that'll let you know, like, listen, the Bible says, the Most High says this is wrong, it's wrong, there's no debate about it, man and female. But once our activists who don't have no spiritual belief, who go with the wind, they just go wherever the wind goes.
Sounds good.
That's right.
They don't have anything to stand firm.
Right. That's why they blow.
When you have that spiritual belief, you have something to hold strong on. And me personally, like you stated before, I think it's a biological thing. It's the food. It's a lot now because the foods that we eat is full of hormones and estrogen.
Right.
It's not necessarily that you're born with the estrogen in you. It's just crap that you're eating. All that processed food is really mutating your body, which is mutating your brain. Like the great Dr. Sabi said, our stomachs are our brains. And when we ingest all these chemical-filled foods, they're gonna mess you up. Your hormones, the way you think, mental, all this food that they're giving us, the synthetic oils, the refined oils, soybean is in everything, and that boosts the testosterone in men and gives women breast cancer. You gotta stay away from these things. So it's a spiritual thing, it's a mental thing, and it's a physical, biological thing.
Absolutely.
That's being attacked.
Absolutely right. And it has to all come at the same time, because the mutual attack comes to kill, steal, and destroy. Because you can't come one angle. When the Hamas just came, they attacked in multiple places because they knew if we go over here and attack, now they have a chance to get themselves together over here. So now if I attack all together at the same time, right, and you're so hit and hurt and harmed, you can't do nothing about it.
Can't do nothing about it.
Can't do anything, right? Like you said, it's in the food we ingest. We gotta eat, right? So now, the more healthy the food, the more it costs. Well, if you're not increasing our income, what we forced to buy? We're forced to buy the food that's gonna kill us. So, and then not only that, for those of us who don't care about our bodies, for those of us who just love junk food, for those of us who let our children ingest anything, that adds on to the fact that, hey, it's bad enough the good stuff is not helping, but now you're adding the bad stuff to the good stuff, and now you really, again, kill, steal, and destroy, all three at the same time. At the end of the day, it's annihilation.
And I feel like the overarching theme of both stories is pleasure seeking. Whether it's pleasure seeking with weed and drugs and things like that, oh, let me target that so I can get the money, so the money could give me pleasure. Or if it's, going along with, like the transgender communities, language, language and terminology. Like that is a very pleasure-seeking type of way, because at the end of the day, whether or not I feel something, it doesn't make it true. Right? Your feelings don't make things true. Your feelings is just what you feel at the moment. A lot of transgender people, they start off one way and then they transition back because they feel another way. Right. We can't always let our feelings dictate where we're going to go in life, because guess what? What I always say, the heart is deceitful. The heart is very deceitful, and we follow our hearts and we follow where that pleasure leads, and it leads straight to the enemy. It leads straight to destruction. And we destroy ourselves, and then we're left with having genitals that don't match what we feel now. Having breasts where we are men. We are men. We have no breasts, and now we want to be women again. We have this relationship with a man, but now I want to date a woman. We have a relationship with a woman, now I want to date a man. Stop looking after pleasure. Start looking after God. Like God is the source. God is the truth, the way, the life, the beginning and the end. Just start looking towards God. That pleasure, if you always seeking pleasure, guess what? Every time you try to hit that point to where you were before, you're going to have to increase it. You're going to have to increase it. You're going to have to increase it. And that's one reason I don't like drugs. I don't like alcohol, because there's never an end to it. Like any type of addiction, there's never going to be an end to it.
You never hit that initial high.
Right. You always gonna be chasing it.
Right. You never.
Hold on. You got 1 minute. We're closing down. Thank you, Teresa. Got 1 minute. Yeah. What are you saying?
Okay. Okay. Yes, I completely agree with Teresa. It has everything to do with learning how to come out of yourself and learning what God has for you, learning to submit. And there's a whole lot to submitting. You end up being a lot happier. Trust me, personal experience. It'll be a lot happier, but really just understanding that everything that is lawful is not good for you. It is not, and when I read that first person, I was like, whoa, it's not really good. So all the majority of the things that is lawful in America now, it ain't for you. It just helps to get you, like Teresa said, addicted, and you end up submitting to that. And when you think you're living in freedom, you are 100% enslaved and in bondage to that. And pay attention to your habits. Your habits will tell you everything. So just pay attention and make sure that you're pulling away from, if everybody else is doing it, 9 times out of 10, it ain't what you're supposed to do. It's not. Be okay with being an oddball. Be okay with looking different. Be okay with looking peculiar and weird. That's when you know you're doing the right thing.
All right. Thank you. Steven, you got 1 minute. Closing up. What you going to say?
Well, closing out, it was a great show. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
It was very informational. I think what the young lady said, pleasure is definitely something that needs to be watched out for. It can be easily confused as sin. It can easily lead you to destruction, and that's how Satan likes to enter through you. He likes to give you what you want, tell you what you like to hear, and then the door is slammed shut. This panel is important, to have these discussions, to break the ice within our communities, and to keep having them. So I don't know how long I got per minute, but I appreciate you for having me, and I'll stay tuned. I'll join dual time.
That's what we want. All right. Vivian, what do you have to say in your minute closing?
Get grounded, man. Get grounded. Stand your ground. Get educated and understand what you are yielding to. When it comes to the first story with the weed being in the schools, when it comes to the second story of changing your vocabulary in order to fit the puzzle pieces in perfectly for other people, for other genders, and the LGBTQ plus community. Listen, get grounded. Get grounded in God. Get grounded in what you believe in. Get grounded in your faith and stand your ground. I am a woman. Woo! That is changing what I am to make anybody else comfortable. No. Listen, get grounded. Stand your ground. That's what I'm closing out with. Stand your ground. Be peculiar, as Shontyce said, and be okay with that. Forget everybody else.
All right. Oh, I got my closing music. And you know what time it is when the music starts to go down. It's Pastor Steph. I'm here tonight with
Teresa.
And
Steve.
And
Shontyce and my girl.
B.
All right, now listen. Just like Stephen said, he is now a due time listener. Make sure you're a due time listener. We can be found on Blog Talk Radio Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you miss us, don't worry. We are on demand 24 hours a day. You can find us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible.com, Amazon, Google, FeedSpot. Oh, anyway, just it's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Check out the digital magazine.
Hey.
Oh, I see what you're doing with Pastor Steph. We want to thank you for joining us. Thank our live audience. We could not do this without. We got Serge on the mic. Serge on the video, holding it down. You know what? Holding it down on StreamYard. As always, she's not even doing well tonight, but she's got us live on our Facebook Live. She's got us live on YouTube Live. Our girl Anika. It's always a due time party when we're together. So if we got a due time party, we always got food. And the one who holds it down in the kitchen, our girl Kelly. As we said, there's been some really good food for thought here tonight. Make sure you do your research and find out what God wants for your life. What he wants for my life is not what he wants for your life. I cannot pattern my life behind what this world wants because God created Stephanie on November 26th, and I'll leave out the rest. But
1937.
But what he wants for Stephanie is what he's called Stephanie to do. And I cannot, like Vivian said, I cannot conform and I will not conform to anything or anybody who God did not put me a part of. I can't be a part of your life in that manner. If you want to identify, listen, we know what the word of God says. But if you don't want to heed to the word of God, that's on you. That's up to you. That's up to you and God. However, you cannot force what you feel on the rest of us. I'm not Malik Yoba. Pastor Steph will not be mimicking and mirroring what somebody else told me to say, except I'm every woman. It's due time with Pastor Steph. Make sure you check us out. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much.